Hi, I'm Shari Chase, and welcome back to Making a Difference. I'm so glad you could join us today. I am hoping that many of you are return viewers, and some of you who are new, I'd like you to know about Making a Difference. The reason we started this show is there are so many wonderful people that have made a difference in people's lives, and we'd like to highlight them and inspire all of you to join in on helping other people and making a difference in the world. Today, my co-host, Marty Meyer, is Captain Marty Meyer, and he happens to be the captain of the presidential yacht. Marty, tell us a little bit about it.
Oh gosh, the presidential yacht, the USS Sequoia, was the presidential yacht from Herbert Hoover, 1933, until Jimmy Carter sold it in 1978. Right now it's available for private charter, and it's docked in the Washington Harbor down in D.C.
Very nice.
So you can actually go to the website and you can actually book the vessel for weddings, for parties, for trips. It's actually designated a National Historic Landmark by an act of Congress.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
So it's like a floating museum, and you go on board and you're just in awe of all the history that's on there.
Really? So can somebody get married on it?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Really?
You can get married on the vessel.
Interesting.
We do a number of weddings. You're actually, if you'd like, you can honeymoon your wedding night on the vessel as well.
Really?
Stay overnight in the presidential's bed.
Isn't that nice? So somebody could actually rent it out for a party, as you said, and then do the people that come on the yacht get a chance to go and see where you're working?
Oh yes, we invite them all up to the wheelhouse, and if you want, we'll let them drive the boat. It's great, you know. And it's a great photo op. We give them the captain's hat and the whole 9 yards, and they get to take the wheel, and they're
oh, isn't that fun?
It's a lot of fun.
Very fun. I've been on your other boats, and I've really enjoyed it. Boats, excuse me. Now, when I said that, what's the difference between a boat, a yacht, and a ship?
There's no definitive reason or no definitive definition of a difference. It's more the appointments on a vessel. So you can have a smaller boat that's a yacht, and then you can have large boats that are, commercial vessels that are research vessels that are boats. So, I wouldn't necessarily consider, the boats that are going out doing the crabbing, up in Alaska as a yacht. So,
Very nice. Well, Marty, we have so many wonderful guests coming on that have inspired me, and I go back over 10 years, about 15 years ago, I met the first guest we're going to have, and she is making a difference in the world for peace and civility in religion, and we'll have two people, so if you all will stay with us for a little while, I think you're going to be very, very inspired. I know I am, and my wish as a young girl in having peace in this world might just be a little step closer after people hear about our next guest, so I'm so excited. Welcome back to Making a Difference. I think you all are going to agree with me. As a young person, I had a dream of peace in the world. And so often people would say, impossible, it can never happen. Well, the next two guests you have to listen to are going to inspire you, I'm sure, as they have me. And let me introduce them. This is Cindy Sandler and Humma Asad. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Humma, share with us about your organization and what you all have beliefs in.
Okay. I am part of the women's organization of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. The headquarters is in Silver Spring, Maryland, at Bait al-Rahman Mosque. And we have a brochure that really brings together what we stand for. We are Muslims for peace. And our motto is love for all, hatred for none. And we really wanted to promote peaceful dialogues and tolerance and working with people from various communities and faiths. We are against terrorism, and one of our largest messages is to address that issue and talk about what Islam really represents.
Very nice. Now, I understand that this is the national headquarters.
Yes.
How many countries are you in, and how many?
Okay, so we have an international leader who is based in London, in United Kingdom, UK, and we are in over 120 countries around the world. And so he is our leader and our guide, and he directs us as to how we need to live our lives according to the Holy Quran, which is our holy book, and the life teachings of our Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So one of his prayers and one of his campaigns was for us to, in our communities, distribute pamphlets to people that talk about peaceful discussions and peaceful tolerance. So that was
Wonderful.
one of our things.
So I understand that that is one of the links that you have with Cindy and with other religious leaders throughout the world.
Yes, and part of how we've gotten to know each other is that from the Jewish perspective, you know, we certainly understand and have had our own struggles about misunderstandings and anti-Semitic comments, and you know, now there's all the anti-Muslim kinds of comments. And then what we've been able to do is to create this program for women called Soul to Soul. And that's really how we look at it, is like our essence and our being and connecting. And so Humma and I meet together along with other women from Temple Isaiah as well as the Ahmadiyya community and also from the Latter-day Saints, the Mormon community.
Very nice.
And we have discussions and we have different topics, and we have one coming up about healing, how each faith looks at the notion of healing. And we're going to have Rabbi Axler and the Imam come and also speak. So it's been wonderful, and as we talk, it's just like we share different histories and different even foods and words, and it's like, wow, that's like what we do.
So there's more similarities and differences, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that's one of our things that we promote, is to go out and invite people from different faiths. And we have something that we've been doing for many, many years in the United States, is an interfaith dialogue. It's called Religious Founders Day, and we invite people from different faiths to talk on a specific topic. And so the rabbi came, a representative from the Sikh, Buddhist, Hindu, Mormons, Christians, and even, you know, so we talk about a specific topic, and we open up to question and answers, and the end is to realize that we all come from the same Creator. We have different ways of praying and different cultures and so forth, but we really look at the commonalities that bring us together. And so that's really what the goal is of this Religious Founders Day that we do every year.
Wonderful. Now, is it just the women? Oh, I'm sorry, Marty, please ask.
Do you have a website or anything that you know, connects everyone, that, you know, people can go to and get information and things like that?
Yes, we have various websites. The main website is called alislam.org, and that has all of the, if you want to learn just about Islam, Ahmadiyya, the history, background, you can go to that. They also have a Muslims for Peace, muslimsforpeace.org. We're also part of Humanity First, which is another service similar to First Aid, where we reach out to different countries and help those that are in need. And Muslims for Life is a blood drive that we did, and we do annually, because after the 9/11 incident, when lives were lost, we felt that it was important to give life to others. So through this blood drive, we were able to promote that. And my husband is actually the public affairs director in our community, so he was able to get senators and congressmen on Capitol Hill to be a part of this this organization.
Wow.
So now, if people would like to become active in the Soul to Soul or in either of the communities, would they just go to your websites to do this?
Yeah, Temple Isaiah has a website, and we don't have a website for Soul to Soul. You know,
Not yet.
It's really my email address. You know, I'm coordinating it among others. So we don't, you know. So if you're interested, I'd say go on to what Humma said is the websites. Go to Temple Isaiah. You can send a message, and then we can let you know about what's going on.
That would be wonderful, so you can get more members too, because really, I think it's a matter of getting more people involved.
Exactly.
So we could get peace in this world. It's definitely within reach.
Exactly.
So now, I know, being Jewish myself, I know in our Orthodox portion of our religion, women are less active, or there's a different look. How about in the Islamic community?
Well, in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, we have a very organized women's group. And that's one of the auxiliaries. It's called Lajna Ma'ala, which is Handmaidens of God. And we have it from the national level to regional to local levels. So when I say that I'm part of the Silver Spring, it's the local Silver Spring chapter. But we do get together at regional levels, and it's organized with presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, and we have social service projects, health projects, projects for children, classes for children, moral
Fabulous.
training, and so forth. So it is very established, and women are very, very actively involved.
So nice. And I guess you men as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we work along with
I don't want to
the
leave
men.
you guys out.
Yes, yes. And the men have their own, and then we also have combination where we sometimes combine. As you know, in Islam, we do have a separation of men and women
Yes.
within the mosque
Yes.
and so forth.
So it's very similar to the Jewish religion.
Very similar, and one of the major tenets of Judaism is a tikkun olam, which means to literally repair the world, and not only the earth of the world and keeping it, you know, ecologically
Yes.
sound as well, but also to repair things that may be broken in terms of relationships and understanding. So soul to soul just fits so nicely with that. And I've learned so much through the program. For example, the word jihad, you know, we hear that in the news, and it can mean a lot of different things, and it literally means struggle.
Yeah, because there's a jihad that our Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said there's two jihads. The jihad of the sword, where you are defending your life if somebody attacks you. But the greater jihad is the internal struggle of the self, and that we do. And we the head of our movement, his name is Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and over 100 years ago, he said the jihad of the sword is no longer to take place, and we are to replace it with the jihad of the pen. And so if you have a disagreement or you don't agree with somebody, then you do dialogue and you do discussions and so forth until you come to an agreement. So that is what our movement represents.
So both religions, we all believe in the same thing. We have to come together. We really, really do. We have to go in a couple of moments. Is there any closing remarks either of you would like to make? Because I'd like you all to come back, and I think we should invite a couple of other religious leaders to come as well from other religions. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be wonderful.
I would like that a lot.
That'd be wonderful. We'll see you then.
Yes, we'll look forward to it. Thank you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Making a Difference. I'm Shari Chase, and my next guest is Sam Georgiou from Professional Arts Pharmacy. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
My pleasure. So, many people wonder, what is a compounder? Because I know you're a compounder in pharmacy.
Well, I've been a pharmacist for about 31 years, and actually a compounder is a pharmacist that actually takes medicines, chemicals, powders, and puts them together in a certain formulation so that it's easy for the patient to take. And originally, way before 1950, all pharmacists were compounders because all medicine needed to be special made.
Oh, interesting.
There were no real manufacturers making pre-made medicine. So now what we do is we find special situations where patients have a certain need that their medicine is made. To give you some examples,
please.
There are cats and dogs,
yes,
which is a large part of our business.
Oh,
Cats,
really?
Oh, yeah. Cats and dogs, they come in all different shapes and sizes.
Really?
So there's no medicine that's made specifically for each individual animal. So what we do is many times we'll take the pure powder, all medicines come in pure powder, and we'll mix them in a certain way so that it's the right size for that dog or that cat to take. The other thing that we'll do is we'll take the medicine and make it, let's say, in a tuna flavor.
Oh, that's so funny.
So you
really?
can give it to the cat because, cats, they're very finicky. And, if you've ever tried to give your cat medicine.
Oh, surely.
Right.
I do have a cat, and I know the feeling.
If you have a capsule or a tablet you give the cat, 3 days later you find it in the corner of the room somewhere.
You definitely do. You definitely do. So, however, if they can't take it orally, are there other ways to create it?
Yes, there are. Actually, we came up with a pen that we put the medicine actually into the pen, and you apply it on the inner ear flap where it's hairless.
Oh, my goodness.
And what happens basically is it's just like a regular pen. You click it, and the right amount of medicine comes out, and you rub it onto the cat's inner ear.
That's fabulous. Did you create that?
Well, me and many other pharmacists created
Wonderful.
it. And what happens is it gets transdermally absorbed through the skin into the bloodstream into the cat.
Oh, very interesting.
So, basically it's just another way to get the medicine into the cat. Dogs, they're all different shapes and sizes.
Really?
They're 3-pound dogs, and there's 150-pound dogs. medicine doesn't come in all of those shapes and sizes.
Surely.
So what we do is we'll make the medicine to the right size, for the specific weight of that particular pet.
Well, isn't that interesting? That's something new, that
Right.
you're really making a difference for our best friends.
Well, that's what we try to
So
do.
how about people, like my son is petrified of shots. So
Right.
is there something that you can do to get the medicine into people who either are unable to swallow
Right.
or petrified of getting an injection? What can you do for them?
Well, that's a great question. And interestingly, we make both medicine for humans and for animals. And the similarity comes in, as we were just talking about the cat, where we put the medicine on the inner ear.
Yes.
It gets transdermally absorbed, which means it goes through the skin. We make the same type of thing for, let's say, children that need B12.
Yes.
And we'll make it into a gel, and the mom will measure out the right amount of medicine and rub it onto the child's, usually their leg or their back, and it gets absorbed right through the skin.
Isn't that wonderful?
Into their bloodstream.
Well, my son actually has something from you, and
Correct.
you've made a big difference because
Right.
we couldn't get the injections
Right.
in here. That's
Right.
wonderful.
So we do both for animals and for humans. One area that we work a lot with is autistic children. Autistic children, it's difficult to get them to take pills.
Yes, it is.
So we will make their medicine, whatever it happens to be, in a good tasting liquid, like a bubblegum flavor.
Can you make it in chocolate?
We can make it in chocolate if that's what they want. Grape, whatever. And we actually put many vitamins into a suspension so the mom can measure it out and then give the child the specific nutrients that they need every day.
Now, I understand you could also make it into little squares, like chocolate. So
We make it into little chewable squares.
And lollipops? Is that right?
Yeah, lollipops we make as well. Lollipops are really a specific use, but the most popular are the suspensions because it's easy to make.
Yes.
I mean, easy to give.
Yes.
And it tastes good, and children seem to like it
How
very much.
wonderful. You've
Right.
made such a difference in people's lives.
Thank
My
you
goodness.
very much. Another large area that we do is women's health. There's a lot of women out there that have hot flashes and night
Yes.
sweats. So I'm a specialist in hormonal treatments for women. We have a website.
What is the website?
That is www.myhormonehelp.com. Women can go on there, and there's actually an assessment form that they can go through, and they fill it out, and they can send it to me. It's no charge, and I will give them specific recommendations what they can do for like hot flashes or night
Sam, my
sweats
goodness.
or low libido, something like that.
So you totally make such a difference in people's lives.
Well, that's what pharmacists do. Basically, we try to make getting medicine, taking medicine easy. Yeah.
Now, how can people contact you, and can you tell us where you're located?
We're located right here in Baltimore. My phone number is 443-200-1200. They can call, ask to speak to me directly. I'm there every day. Or they can speak to one of my other pharmacists.
Wonderful. And I know that's true because I've called before.
There you go. That's correct.
Now, I have a question for you. The big scare that happened in a compounder with the injections.
Right.
Could you take some fear away from my viewers so they know that really an injection in your spine or neck is safe?
Well, that certainly is a tragedy.
Normally.
Let me tell you what we do.
Yes, please.
What we do is when we make the medications, we actually send it out to be tested.
You do?
We have the powders when we get them in. We have called certificate of analysis that we know the powder that we have is actually what it says it is on the bottle. All my pharmacists are trained, and then what we do is we send it out to a lab to have it checked to make sure what is in there is actually in there.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah.
So people can know it's safe and they don't have to worry about
Correct.
viruses or
Correct.
funguses. That's wonderful. So that's
Yeah.
important to know.
Right.
Now, we only have a couple moments left. Is
Yeah.
there something else you want to share with our audience? Because this is fascinating. I'm
Right.
sure there's other information you can come back and give us another
Well,
day,
basically,
too.
if people have a hard time taking medication, if they have problems with allergies or the dyes in the medication, or they just can't get their child to take it, or they need it in a specific size,
Yes.
they just call me up and we will come up with the answers for them.
Really, that's
and make
wonderful.
Make it easy. We're here to serve the public and make the medication safe and make it easy to give.
Well, this is great. You have really provided us with some wonderful information. We have, another topic we're going to be discussing in another show. I'd love you to come back and talk a little bit maybe about autistic children and elderly as well.
I'd be happy to help you anytime. My pleasure. And patients can feel free to call me and ask me any question.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Stay with us. We'll be right back, and thank you, Sam, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Welcome welcome back to Making a Difference. Our next guest is Leah DeLacy from Lynn's Day Spa in Columbia, Maryland. Welcome.
Thanks for
Welcome,
having
Leah.
me. Thank you.
Well, how do you make a difference by getting a facial? You're an esthetician, is that correct?
That is correct. I specialize in anti-aging facials. This time of year, it's really dry and people have the heat on in their cars and in the house, so I'm really focusing on hydrating the skin, plumping out fine lines, wrinkles, pigmentation, things like that.
Interesting. So now do you wait until, as a customer, do you wait until you get dried out to come to you, or is this something preventative?
You should be coming on a monthly basis. You should always be thinking preventative in terms of fine lines and wrinkles and dryness even. You don't want to wait until you're good and dry before you come in. It's going to take that much more product and effort to get back to plump, juicy skin.
Well, I'm sure many of our viewers have had facials before, but maybe you could tell Marty and I what happens in a facial, and whether it's for just women or men or both.
So you can take 10 years off me, huh?
I can.
Oh.
You'd be a baby then.
You take 10 years with me too?
Well, you'd be even more of a baby.
Aw, see, I just got a really good compliment there.
So I always start with a cleansing. I do a nice surface cleansing and a deep pore cleansing. Remove blackheads, any clogged pores. There's a nice massage component in there where I do hydrating and a hydrating mask or a treatment mask. I'll do a hand treatment for winter time for men and for women. And it's really relaxing and beneficial.
Isn't that lovely? Now, one of the things I love about your spa is you do the steam.
Yes.
So good.
Yes, it opens up the pores and allows me to get in there and take out any clogged pores and really help moisturizers get into skin. So that's nice. And it's relaxing.
How about children? Can children come in for facials?
You know, you kind of want to wait until your puberty level. And then even then a half an hour facial is probably where you want to go. But yes, kids can come in.
Okay. You know, you mentioned puberty level. How about people who have acne? Does a facial help them?
Perfect for people with acne. Perfect for unclogging those acne pores. Helping to smooth things out and prevent some of that scarring that comes with acne.
Now, there's so many spas to go to. Why Lynn's Day Spa? Why would somebody come to you all?
Well, we have just such a mix of technicians. We do nails and body treatments, massage, facials, lashes, all different types of things there. So you can really find exactly what you want and need at Lynn's.
So if I came to you for a facial, can you also do something for my lashes to give me long, luxurious lashes?
I can do several different types of lashes, so yes.
Can Marty get them too?
If he wants them, I don't know.
I've got long lashes, and you'll make them just look
A
bright.
little mascara goes
nice.
along. We also do lash tinting, brow
Do you
tinting.
really?
We'll take them
Interesting.
darker, make them look longer.
Oh, I never even knew you could do that. Isn't that interesting? Now, I'm sure people are concerned about, costs these days. Is it very expensive to get a facial?
Not at all, not at all. And really, it'll start as low as $60, $65. We can add on if you're interested in specific anti-aging treatments or acne treatments. You can always do a half an hour and not the full hour. So it kind of depends on your budget and what you're looking for.
How long does someone go for a facial for?
Well, you can do a half an hour and 15 minutes. It depends on the treatment and how long you want to stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, probably I would need a couple hours.
Oh, you're so youthful you don't need. Well, although he's out on his boat, so I bet people that are outside doing athletics probably needs facials
Definitely,
even more than
especially
people
if you're
that
not wearing SPF.
Yes.
So if you can tell, we only have a couple minutes left, if you can give some advice to our viewers on skincare and to stay younger and look younger, what would it be?
It would be stay hydrated. Make sure you're using a moisturizer twice a day and make sure you're using SPF.
All right.
Yeah, that would be it, really.
Right, that's easy, right?
Everybody
There's
can do it.
No excuse not to. Now, I understand that you took one of our models, and as an esthetician, you can also apply makeup.
I can.
And created a new image for her, with
I did.
making her eyes look larger.
I did.
You did. So maybe we could
did.
take a look at that picture.
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look. So how long did that take to do?
It really only took me about 8 minutes, 10 minutes tops.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you give makeup lessons?
I do give makeup lessons. I can show you how to do daytime looks, bridal looks, prom looks, evening looks, yeah.
Very, very nice. Well, I'm excited. So if I come visit you, will you teach me, please?
I can definitely do
Okay.
that. I would love to.
Very, very nice.
You too, Marty.
Oh, that's great. I'll come learn. Absolutely. It'd just be fun watching you do it to other people as well.
I don't think they have voyeurs. There's private rooms, right?
It is a private room.
It is. And
Well, I'll
you
get to come and watch Shari, right?
There you go. There you go. Okay, as long as I'm good. I'm good with that. Well, Leah, thank you so much for coming
Thanks for
on,
having me.
and hopefully you all will take advantage of keeping your skin youthful and go visit Lynn's Day Spa, and especially take advantage of the advice that Leah gave you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Making a Difference. Our next guest will help people that are in pain or uncomfortable. I welcome Mark Matsunaga. He is a doctor and he owns Comprehensive Pain Center in Columbia, Maryland. Welcome to our show. You're welcome. Could you tell us how you make a difference?
Well, our motto over at the Comprehensive Pain Center is pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So we look at anyone who presents to us with pain and try to make a difference in their life by managing the pain, working it up, treating it, and trying to find a way to improve their quality of life.
I can vouch for the success. I was in a pain level about 5 to 7 constantly, and as a patient, you really helped me, and now I could enjoy a really wonderful life without having to live in pain. So I encourage people to turn to you. Could you let us know what the procedures and the type of people that would come to you, please?
We try to offer a whole gambit of services. We are not trying to be considered a pill mill where all we do is dispense medications. We're not trying to be perceived as a block shop where all we do is injections, but we try to find a balance between all of these and offer a real comprehensive pain program where we look at everything from their physical activity to their daily activity, lifestyle, sleep pattern, mental health, how they're getting through the day, and work with them to develop treatment plans so that they can find ways to progress in their daily life.
So what type of treatments can they actually get when they come to you? Let's say someone has neck pain or back pain. What type of things would you
Probably the most common procedure that pain clinics do is the epidural steroid injections, and that's indicated where people have some back pain with pain radiating down into one or both of their legs. And it's usually done in a series of 3. Not the most painful thing in the world, but it's still a little needle stick. And it has the potential to decrease inflammation in the spine where the nerves are being pinched, causing the pain going down the legs. And sometimes a series of 1, 2, maybe 3 will help alleviate the pain to a significant degree and prevent or postpone a surgical intervention.
Something I was really impressed when I had my procedure is you actually were guided by ultrasound, is that?
We use ultrasound, we use radiographic C-arm guidance just to kind of confirm or help direct the needles into the right spot.
Well, just to take the fear away, when I had mine, you told me each little step that would happen, and there was no pain, or very little, if any.
Yeah, I think it's important to ease a lot of the anxiety that's related around getting stuck with needles into your spine to actually know what's going on and to understand the sensations that you're going to feel as the procedure is being done.
So as you've done this, and for how long now?
I've been in pain management for about 15 years.
And your focus or your motivation for doing pain management, how did you actually develop that?
It's a difficult field because of the public awareness that has come about getting drugs, and so half of our time is spent trying to find out the appropriate candidates for pain management and not the ones who are just seeking their narcotics, because narcotic abuse is one of the biggest problems in the country with substance abuse. So besides weeding those people kind of for the program, we find that we can make a difference, and it's very rewarding when someone comes in and says, hey, I can do this now, or you've changed my life, or I could, I can't thank you enough because now I can enjoy my time with my grandkids, I could lift, I could play, I could do these things that I haven't been able to do before.
But the medication, that's pretty general though, isn't it? When you just take it in, it's you develop more specific.
Well, we develop treatment plans very specifically for each individual who comes into practice, so we may be using non-narcotics, a combination of narcotics and anti-inflammatories, anticonvulsants, antidepressants, muscle relaxants, local anesthetic, a whole series of different classes of medications that can be used in pain management.
Could this be for children as well as adults?
Fortunately, children aren't really suffering a whole lot of
Thank
chronic
goodness.
pain. They don't have the disease processes that we develop when we get a little older.
And you mentioned before we came on air that a person that is suffering with nausea through chemotherapy, or, as an example, they could turn to you. fibromyalgia, I think you said as well.
Yeah, most of the disease states that we will try to attempt to diagnose and treat, and things that we can't figure out, we will refer, and we have no problems working as a team with several different other specialists so that we could all plan together and figure out how we can get people's pain under control.
That's fabulous. You really give people their lives back.
And your facility is local nearby, or?
Our office is right next to the Howard County General Hospital in the medical pavilion.
Oh, that's great.
Can you tell the viewers the phone number and the website if you have?
It's 410-997-PAIN, P-A-I-N, 7246.
Oh, that's easy to remember. Is there a website they could go
The
to?
Comprehensive Pain Center at Comcast.net.
Oh, look, Comcast, perfect.
Very easy.
That's easy to find. Is there anything that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, I just want to make sure that people understand who are suffering in pain, that pain is something that naturally happens. It's inevitable. You have an injury, the body tells you the pain is there. But suffering doesn't have to occur, that there are ways that we can address pain, the technologies that are available to us these days with the spinal cord stimulators and medications and implantable devices and nerve blocks and things. It's just no reason that someone should have to suffer in pain, and we really direct ourselves at quality of life.
Good. And I want to take some fear away from people. We just had a compounder on earlier. Now, you know, with the whole scare right now with people getting a fungal infection, please can you let people understand how that this still is safe?
It's an unfortunate thing that happened with this compounding pharmacy, but they apparently got an infection into their steroid preparation and not knowingly distributed it to across the country, and we're finding out now that infection has occurred. It's an unfortunate thing that happens, but it unfortunately does happen. But we are fortunate here in our program that we don't use that steroid. So.
Thank goodness. So you take very strict control over what you
we try
inject.
to, yes.
Very, very good. Well, I can't say more, positive things about having you as my physician and the help that you gave me, and I'm sure our viewers will benefit greatly if they come to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I thank you so much, Dr. Matsunaga.
Thank you.
Really wonderful.
Thanks, appreciate
thanks
you
my
being
life back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And I guess we will be back in a couple minutes, so please stay with us. Hi, I'm Shari Chase from Making a Difference. I'd like to encourage you to get involved in Special Olympics as a volunteer and also get a scholarship. I offer scholarship service myself. You can contact me at the.chases@comcast.net for either private or personal assistance. And this is Bob Baker that will tell you about a current scholarship.
Thanks, Shari. We offer 3 different scholarships for high school seniors and college students. Application deadline is April 1st. Come out and volunteer and apply.
Welcome back to Making a Difference. Well, our next guest is someone that is going to help many people and has helped many people from Kennedy Krieger Institute and from their high school program to assist people in transitioning that have autism into the everyday world. So without further ado, Chuck Durgin.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
Same here. I'm so happy you could join us. Tell people how you make a difference and maybe give people, some of our viewers, some advice on when to start thinking about transition.
Okay. Well, transition is something that's often not on the radar when you're worried about how your child is doing in school.
Yes.
And it can creep up on people. And so a lot of what we do in the school is to work with the families for about 3 to 5 years prior to exiting the school to prepare them for the resources and the opportunities and some of the challenges that lie ahead. So that's our primary focus.
And would you say this advice is really good and a timetable like this is important for not only children with autism but children in general?
Absolutely. We serve many different types of disabilities, children with different types of disabilities, so it's not limited to any specific type of challenge. It's really for all children that might be receiving special education services that need to access supports after school. Because even kids that do not have disabilities need a lot of support, and if you have a child that has a particular learning challenge or behavioral challenge or emotional challenge, you want to make sure that they have the types of supports that we know help them be successful after school that we know was helpful when they were in school.
So where's the school located? I mean, is there a location? Is there several locations, or?
We're pretty spread out, but our primary schools are located in the Baltimore area. We have K through 12 schools. We have specialty schools that serve children with significant autism, and we have other satellite programs as well throughout the area.
Are these standalone facilities, or do you partner up with other facilities and use their?
We really do both. Our programs in downtown Baltimore are freestanding, non-public special education schools, so they're sort of self-contained. Even though there are many different types of emphasis within the school, we have those specific programs. And some of our satellite programs are working within the public school system and with their staff and with the resources within those buildings. So it varies a tremendous amount.
So how would somebody have their children attend one of the Kennedy Krieger programs?
Yeah.
And I guess also in addition to that, you said something about public and private, so if you could explain the difference.
Yeah, all the children that we serve are public school students. However, the public schools, for one reason or another, have felt that they were not able to provide the level of programming that was leading to success. And when they hit a dead end, or where they find that the child might be struggling, or in some cases suffering, and not really moving forward, they often have a meeting and decide that they need to find a non-public placement that is more specialized and has more support than you might find in the public system. So for example, where I am, we have a lot of related services with really talented therapists, such as physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists. So not only do we have a strong educational focus, but we also have a clinical emphasis to try to really provide the level of support that we really think will make a difference.
Excellent.
So do you have a special story that you can share, you know, one of the great successes, or?
Well, we have a lot of stories. You know, we have 200 students in the high school where we are right now, and everyone is their own unique story, and I think that's really what the secret is, trying to create the path for each individual and each family and each community that they live in. But there are many. I hate to pick one because there are a lot, but we did have like one student not long ago who just graduated. His last year was really not sitting at a desk and working in academics. He was really involved in work and community activities, so his parents set up, this is a child who has significant autism, his parents set up a job for him in the community, so they took that on to give him some work experience. We gave him work experience at the Baltimore Museum of Industry.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah. So he had community work experience supported by family. He had community work experience supported by school. He had in-house work experience, both working in a construction lab on site, as well as in the retail area, in addition to the academics. So a lot of the emphasis was shifting his last year to a school to focus more on how he could be a productive member of society in a way that would motivate him and interest him for his particular passions in life. So that was probably one of the most recent, but we hope we have a story like that for most of the students that we work with.
Yes.
So
what are some of the other types of things you do to prepare the students?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, first of all. A lot of it is trying to get them to take on more personal responsibility, to be more of a self-advocate, to be less in a role of being student and more self-directed, so that they're taking on more ownership and responsibility for their life. So we do a lot of that type of training, give them a lot of emotional support. We give them experiences that can help them explore what they're good at and what they may have trouble with. So we try to give both opportunities to find out where they can be successful, as well as areas where they may need support. And so a lot of it is diagnostic. We're trying to figure out what that formula is for each student that needs to have a special level of customized assistance once they leave. So it's pretty dynamic. It's not just sitting at a table working on the 3 R's, but it's really focusing on what the types of challenges might be once they exit the school system.
And I guess also their strengths as well, so that you could earmark them into the right place.
Absolutely. You start with strengths, interests, and then focus on resources and opportunities. And you really need to have all those things in balance if you're really going to make a difference.
And I know you will go with looking at each student, presuming intelligence, and that's something unique to some of the public schools don't always do that.
Well, we want to take each child for where they are, where their particular strengths are, and link their interests and strengths to possible work opportunities once they move out. Because we have some kids that go to college, we have some students that go into vocational training programs, some that go right into the workforce, so it can really range. We have some that go to 4-year universities, whereas some that need a lot more support and need day-to-day assistance, and they would move into a different type of program.
Is there a website that they can look up information?
Yeah, there are a lot of websites. I can give you our website. website
Please
is
do.
one starting point, and that's www.kennedykrieger.org.
Okay.
There's also a number of transition websites. If you Google transition in Maryland, you'll get a number of resources that will come up that way, and that's really worth exploring.
And we only have a little while longer, so I was wondering if you could tell our viewers, give them some advice, the parents of children that are about to transition, when to start and also what to do, and maybe also tell some of our viewers how they could be supportive, perhaps maybe offering job opportunities.
Yeah, I think one change in our society that's been really positive is that businesses have been more welcoming. We've had great partnerships with different businesses that are willing to open their doors to our students, and I think sort of getting out there and networking is really critical. Starting early, starting when the students are 14, 15, 16 years old, so you get to know what the outside world is like rather than just focusing on school. I think also feeling that things can, a sense of optimism, feeling that things can go well if you put the right amount of work in. I don't encourage them to rely solely on the school system. I think they really need to network with outside resources to really get the information they need to make a difference.
So do you get many of them actually embrace this and then excel in it? You know,
Yeah.
once they're given that opportunity?
Yes, many do, but we also have people who do struggle. We also have people who go out and it isn't the end of the road. They have further challenges ahead, and then our challenge there is to make sure that they're connected to supports that are tuned into what those struggles might be, and then hopefully make a difference from there.
Oh, you know, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and telling you all us about this. I know you all are going to come back on our next show and talk about another topic in relationship to Kennedy Krieger. So
Absolutely.
I would ask you if that you're fine with that?
Absolutely.
Good,
Yeah, that sounds good.
The time always runs away. But I thank you so
No
much for being
problem.
here today. And if you'll stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome to Making a Difference. I'm Shari Chase, and today we have an old friend of the show, and I don't mean in age. She's young and youthful. Fran Bowman from Bowman Educational Services. That's in Maryland, Virginia, New York, and California. She is one busy woman, and she has helped so many people and truly makes a difference in many, many children's lives, and actually grown-ups' lives as well. So, Fran, please tell everyone about your firm and your services, which are numerous.
Thank you. So we are an educational consulting firm, and we see kids that are very, very little, and we see adults mostly who have learning differences. I'd say that most of the people that we see have dyslexia or attention deficit, or they have difficulty with writing or difficulty with math, and we test them, we tutor them, we do speech language services with them. And our goal is to get them out. We get them in, and then we try to get them out.
How do you gather your information other than your testing? Do you also observe them in school and their daily life?
We try to treat them very holistically, so that we look at all aspects of their lives, and we tend to know them over time. So we might see a child who's having trouble learning to read in 1st or 2nd grade, and then they learn how to read and they're doing fine, and then sometimes they're back again in 8th grade because they're having trouble learning how to write. And then they go away and they get better in writing, and then they come back to us when they're looking at colleges in their junior year of high school.
So you get to follow them
So
through
we
their
get to
whole
see them
childhood.
through their lives, which is just so much fun, and get to know their
inspiring.
families.
Well, I
and-
just know all the help you've given me, and really, you know, I have to tell you, it's just not even a safety net. I'm trying to think of the right. It's like a big hug when I talk to you. I just know that you're going to steer me in the right direction, and you're calming, and you always have the right resources to send people to, which is so
thank
nice.
you.
How many years have you been in this business?
So I started 39 years ago and went into private practice. I worked for school systems and private schools, and I taught college, and then for the last 30 years I've been in private practice.
Is that something? 30 years? Has it seemed that long?
It's a long time.
Well, we're gonna try to have you on as many shows as we can. But today, you and I discussed we're going to talk about reading issues, and we're going to do the W's today. You gave me these great suggestions to do it this way. So first of all, why is reading such an important issue in our schools today, Fran?
We have across the country at least 10 million children who are not reading on grade level who should be. It is a crisis. It's a crisis locally. It's a crisis nationally. And it used to be that if a kid was having trouble with reading, there was this assumption that they were going to be pulled out and helped by the school reading specialist or receive special education. But a lot has changed in that regard, and now this really is something that has to be done in the regular classroom because of the changing nature of special education services. So we really have this impossible situation where we have, you know, many, many children. It's usually at least 20% of any classroom of kids. It's a lot. It's 1 in 5 kids who are not reading on grade level.
And reading is everything. You need that for anything you possibly do.
You have to. You have to be able to read.
What do you attribute that problem?
I think that it has always been there. But the difference is that if you look generationally, before there were special education services, which really started in the 60s, a lot of times these kids just dropped out of school, particularly if they were, you know, dyslexic and they really were having trouble reading, and even though they were smart, at a certain point, they just left because they couldn't handle it. Then we started giving special education services, and these kids were getting help, and people with dyslexia, for example, get better. If they get the help they need, they get better, and they're able to do anything they want, and they're highly creative and intelligent. So for a while there, that was working to an extent. I went into private practice because there were so many children who weren't getting what they needed in public schools. I was in public schools and going home every night so frustrated because for every kid that I saw, there were 10 others who needed help, and I wasn't able to reach them. So then what happened was there was a thing that happened in special education called inclusion, which meant that everybody who had any kind of a learning problem would be in a regular classroom, and a special education teacher would come into the classroom and work with the regular teacher and help those kids, which worked very well for certain kinds of disabilities. It did not work well for dyslexia because kids with dyslexia have to learn to read differently. So having another person walking around offering help, they need to be pulled out. They need to get specific help. So, and we really know how to solve this problem.
See, that's wonderful. They could turn to you for this. So now, when should a parent really start worrying about their child's reading abilities?
We can start helping kids before they learn to read. If there's a family history of dyslexia and a child is in nursery school or kindergarten and having trouble learning their letters, learning their sounds, trouble with rhyming, trouble with all the sort of basic things that kids do when they're getting ready to read, if that's happening and there is a family history of reading problems, that's when it needs to be picked up. And that is when the services of any kind should start to kick in. We can prevent these problems from becoming serious by getting to kids when they're little.
So, and which leads me to my next question, where do the children get the help for these problems?
If they're in an enlightened school, which of course, you know, some are and some aren't. If they're in an enlightened school, they should be tested. You know, our schools start at kindergarten. At the first week of kindergarten, we have ways of figuring out, we test for something called phonological awareness, which is the same root phonological as phonics. So we can tell very early on whether or not a child is at risk. And so all the children get tested in the beginning of kindergarten, and then we can start helping them, but they usually need help one-on-one, two-on-one. So in a big classroom, they just get lost, and, you know.
Oh, of course.
So that's in an ideal situation. If a child is not getting the help, they can get tested privately.
I was going to ask you who.
And that's something we do, and so do other people in the community. So we see lots of kids, and I love when we get them little, because then if they come for tutoring because they need extra support, we call it play tutoring, and they just think they're coming to play. It's fun, you know, we play all kinds of games with them. They don't know that they're really learning to read. And then what happens is, usually by about 2nd or 3rd grade, unless they're very severe, they're pretty much on target.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But the reverse is what usually happens.
You get them when they're later.
We get them 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. A parent calls and says, oh my God, my kid is 3 years below grade level, and then they're suffering. So it's really something that, you know, I feel has to be an early intervention issue, and this is a political issue as well as anything else.
But I assume it's not too late, though, if someone does realize
It's
now.
never too late in terms of the skills. Like, we see adults who never learned how to read, and we can usually teach them to read. And in a year and a half, to think that they've wasted, you know, their lives.
Right,
but the fact is,
and they struggled and they were frustrated.
oh my goodness,
I'm sure behavior problems come from things like this as well.
Yeah, self-esteem issues. And technically, if they have dyslexia, you can actually do a cheek swab of their DNA when they're born. And there are many genes for dyslexia. 2 of them we can pick up on a cheek swab. So I mean, this is something where we really understand how to diagnose this.
Yes.
We understand how to fix this, and yet there are still many children
it's
who
like
aren't getting.
In the caveman time.
Is
it money? Is that the reason school systems hold
It's
off?
not only money. It's partially money, because the special education budgets. If a budget is about 13% is about normal, 13% for all special education needs. Well, 20% of the population is dyslexic. So the kids, so there is a money issue, but there's also an issue of making sure that there's early intervention.
So that's the most important thing. They're signaling that we only have a couple more moments left, so it went so quick. Can you give everybody your address and your website and your phone number? And can I ask you again to come back for another show, because we love having you.
Of course.
Thank you. We do. And hopefully your advice is going to help kids and adults know that they can get some help.
So I guess I'll start with my website.
Yes, please.
www.bowmaneducationalservices.com. And our phone number is 410-290-5955.
Perfect.
That's our main office in Columbia, Maryland.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And I encourage people to contact Fran, and they will not be sorry. You really will. Don't be frustrated and don't say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, because it's not right. You wouldn't have wanted your parents to do that. You have to get your children help now. And I just don't understand why just all kids are not just tested right off the bat. So,
That's a great question.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But if you'll stay with us, we'll be right back, and see you in a moment.
Hey, welcome back to Making a Difference. My name's Ross Lewin. I'm actually one of the cameramen on the crew here for the show. And you know, I'm here today to talk with Shari about some educational opportunities that some people are missing out on because they don't have the money. You know, I graduated from University of Maryland with a marketing degree, and you know, I found that it was able to really propel my career. I have a photography business called HoCo Photo, and I really make a difference in the community by preserving childhood memories of action sports. So I noticed that people really didn't have those growing up. Myself, we didn't have action photos of any of my sports. So I decided to start a company, and that's what I'm doing now, and it's because of my, because of my college education. So Shari, tell me a little bit about how you're helping the community in bringing college education to students.
Oh, well, the way that I've been doing it is, as you know, I have an older son who is a freshman in college, and when I looked at the amount of money it would cost after applying for 17 schools and looking at the total bill, I realized that not only was my cost going to be tuition and room and board, but books and travel, and we were looking $40,000 plus per year, and as a single mom, that seemed to be a very, very large bill to have to handle.
Yeah.
I spoke to counselors, and I went to some of the local companies that say that they help with scholarships, and they said all you could do is apply for the huge ones that were $20,000 or more, like everyone else is applying for the same ones that you got from websites, or you can go to the schools. Well, it occurred to me that if everyone did that, there would be no money. So I started doing searches, and I came up with a system that actually ended up helping me pay for my son's entire college 4 years and not have to take any money out of my pocket. And I realized that it has nothing to do with how much money you personally make, but it's really how you position your child.
Wow. Wow, it sounds like you're doing a really good service to people.
Well, I am, and I started a company by the name of In the Bag, and people in the community have come to me and asked me to help on their obtaining scholarships for their children, and I can confidently say that I can at least steer them in the right direction and help them get their start, and hopefully most of them are going to be able to have a great deal of their children's education paid for by outside sources.
Oh, that's great. Do you have any good success stories?
Well, I do. Well, one success story was I ended up looking at a particular scholarship that I was told, don't even bother to look at. It's only $1,000 per year. Well, you know, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but when you put $1,000 times 10, and you have 10 $1,000 scholarships, then suddenly it's $10,000 a year. And if you start looking at those, sometimes it opens doors to others. Well, we applied to 10 $1,000 scholarships, and then several that were $2,500. And some of them were making videos, others were writing essays, and suddenly I started realizing that in my son's senior year, I might have started a little too late, but I started having him get a little bit more well-rounded. And as a result, I can tell you that we get over $44,000 a year in scholarship money. Now, that's a lot of money, and I stopped at that point. But yeah, I would say that's definitely a success story. And if any of you would like to have me help you with that, you can contact me in the bag at the.chases@comcast.net. It would be my pleasure to help out.